Hello, and welcome back to Triclaw Gaming with me, Fletcher. And today I'm excited to bring you the first part of a brand new series, which I'm going to be calling Beyond the Park. I've even made a little intro to it. So what is the point of this new series? Well, like a lot of you watching who play Jurassic World Evolution, I'm a massive dinosaur nerd. Since the age of around 7 or so, I've adored learning everything I can about these magnificent creatures, and of course, going to see them wherever I can. And many of us know in detail the story of these creatures within the Jurassic Park franchise. But there's the other side of the story that actually many of you may not know, the dinosaurs' real-world history. And that's what this series is going to do. We're going to look at the real-world history of these dinosaurs, their discovery, and any new modern-day findings. So, if you like this first episode, let me know, and there'll be more. So, where am I going to start with this new series? Well, in my own backyard, sort of. Baryonyx. And here I am with one inside the London Natural History Museum several years ago. This Spinosaurid dinosaur has a bit of a mixed reputation in Jurassic World Evolution, but what of its real-world history? Well, let's start at the beginning. In 1983, fossil collector William J. Walker was exploring a clay pit located near a place called Oakley, located in the south of the British Isles, when, according to those in the know, he found a little bit of a claw sticking out of the ground. He dug it up and brought it to the Natural History Museum in London. This huge claw would be responsible for Baryonyx's full name, meaning heavy claw, and we'll come back to this claw later on. They then gave Baryonyx the second name Walkeri, which gives honour to its initial discoverer. After the discovery of the claw, a team from the museum returned to the clay pit, and between May and June 1983, they unearthed a reasonably complete skeleton from over 2 tons of surrounding material, which is known in paleontology as matrix. During this dig, the team found the surrounding stone difficult to remove, and had to resort to using an industrial shot blaster firing plastic shot, which was the first time it had ever been done to aid in fossil digging. It remains the most complete example of its species, and remains at the museum. The quality of the baryonyx skeleton has also been used for a long time to guide the reconstructions of other Spinosaurids, such as Suchomimus and Spinosaurus. This is primarily due to the fact that no Spinosaurid skull had ever been discovered until Baryonyx. Further fossil evidence for the Baryonyx has also been found around the UK, with many teeth being found on the Isle of Wight, but also fossil discoveries in Spain. The animal itself has an estimated length of around 10 meters, and an estimated weight of about 2 tons. Baryonyx itself also has the fame of being one of the most well-preserved theropods yet discovered in the British Isles. Until the discovery of the Baryonyx, very few theropods were known in the British Isles. In fact, the only other significant theropod find had been the Eustripta spondylus, discovered in 1871. Baryonyx had a number of features on its skeleton that distinguished it from other theropod dinosaurs, many of which were described on the skull. Upon investigating the snout of the dinosaur, the nostrils were discovered to be quite far back, and inside the mouth, which is not a place you'd like to be able to see if you visited Jurassic Park, the front of the jaw has a very distinctive rosette of teeth, as well as a notch located just behind. This is a feature that a lot of fish-eating creatures share. Another feature that Baryonyx shares with fish-eating creatures is the shape of its teeth, which have a crocodilian rounded cross-section, unlike the flat shape that other theropod dinosaurs have. All this is very similar to the gharial, which is another modern-day fish-eating reptile. The original scientific description of the skeleton, which you can read online and I'll link down below, also noted that the lack of the fusing of various bones in the skeleton indicated that the creature found was not fully grown and was in actual fact a juvenile. The most distinctive feature of the skeleton, however, is the enormous claws on the hands. These single claws were over 30 centimeters long, and may have even been longer with a keratinous sheath over the bone, making it the same length if not slightly bigger than the teeth of the Tyrannosaurus. The use of these thumb claws is still much of a mystery. However, all these features combined have fueled the idea that Baryonyx was mostly an aquatic animal, something like a crocodile or a hippo. There is the interpretation that it used its huge claw like a bear, hooking fish out of the water. In fact, when I was a kid, this is how I was first introduced to baryonyx. I had a plastic toy that showed the dinosaur on all fours with a fish hooked on one claw. However, Dr. Susie Maidment, a current dinosaur researcher at the Museum of Natural History in London, is not as certain of this interpretation. She states that baryonyx may have swum about a bit, but I don't think it lived its life in the water. It mostly would have splashed about on the banks. Something that supports Dr. Maidment's view is that baryonyx lacks something called pachyostosis. This is basically a thickening of bone tissue that works as ballast, helping the creature combat natural buoyancy. The skeleton found by the museum seems to highlight that baryonyx didn't live on just fish. Susie continues by saying, they found what they thought could be stomach contents. There were fish scales, but also iguanodon bones. So these dinosaurs probably weren't only eating fish, but would have eaten whatever was going. So what was going at this time? 125 million years ago, the British Isles was a very different place, but still as wet as always. Southeast England was a waterlogged maze of swamps and meandering rivers. In fact, most of this part of the world, including northern Spain and France, was drowned under a huge body of water which has been called the Wealden Lake. The climate was subtropical, making the whole location hot and humid, and it would have been a vast expanse of deltas and rivers, mudflats and lagoons, which would have made a semi-aquatic lifestyle perfect for a creature like baryonyx. Other dinosaurs that lived in the same place and around the same time included the very famous iguanodon and the polacanthus. It's highly likely that young iguanodon were probably prey for baryonyx, and in fact, just 100 meters away from where they found the first baryonyx skeleton, diggers located the bones of an iguanodon. The original scientific analysis of the skeleton theorized many things about baryonyx, which included quadrupedal movement at times. It also indicated that baryonyx was ill-equipped to be a typical theropod dinosaur hunting other dinosaurs. Currently, ongoing theories about baryonyx are being led by newer and more recent discoveries around the Spinosaurus. Detailed analysis of the end of the Spinosaurus snout indicates that there may have been pressure-sensitive receptors on the snout, which could have been capable of sensing vibrations in water, like those made by passing fish when the snout was submerged. The teeth of the baryonyx, which are noted to be better for grasping struggling prey than ripping it apart, would support a style of fishing where the dinosaur would lower its skull into the water, wait for something to happen by, and snap its jaws shut. The position of the nostrils would also help with this, as the dinosaur could continue to breathe easily even with its snout in water. The purpose of the huge claw then may not be to aid in fishing, but to aid in slicing up and gutting caught prey, although such a huge claw to me seems a bit of an overcompensation. One final theory is that baryonyx and Suchomimus are in actual fact the same animal. The skeletons of both creatures are very similar, with the only difference being higher spines on the back of the Suchomimus. Given that the baryonyx skeleton is considered a juvenile, it could be that Suchomimus represents an adult creature, and if this is ever found out to be true, then Suchomimus itself could end up disappearing as a unique species. Baryonyx remains one of my most favourite dinosaurs. There's a few reasons for this, not just the fact that it's a British dinosaur. The fact it looks so different to other theropods as well as that enormous claw, and I think the very cool sounding name makes it a great dinosaur to me. For anyone wanting to see a baryonyx up close, and who can't spare no expense, you could pop along to the Natural History Museum in London, where they still have a full skeleton on the wall. So what did you guys think? Do you like the idea of more real-world history surrounding our dinosaurs? Let me know in the comments. And also, if you do want more, what would you like to see me talk about next? I don't necessarily want to just focus on the famous animals of Jurassic Park, so maybe some obscure dinosaurs you'd like to hear about. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you've not done so already. By the way, if you're curious about any of the locations that I've used to get all the information about baryonyx, it will be written down below in the comment sections, and where possible I will try to use scientific sources. I'm not just going to be going on Wikipedia and copying the information there. I'm going to be trying to find actual scientific good study evidence to talk about in these videos, and if I do find any of it, it will be linked down below so you yourself can give your own read about the science surrounding these dinosaurs. In any case, I hope to hear from you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.